Welcome to Let's Talk Sports here on WYLN. I'm your host, Marty Burns. Major League Baseball has hit its so-called halfway point, and who better to bring on than WYLN sports analyst Joe Flanagan to discuss Major League Baseball a little bit over the halfway point. Look ahead to the second half, maybe what some of the local teams may be looking to do before the trade deadline, and then as the season progresses. So we have Joe coming up right after this.
Hey guys, this is Ray Merrill from Blaze Alexander Greater Hazleton Buick GMC on Route 93. Want a great deal on this GMC? Come on down to Route 93. This is the sexiest sport utility on the market, GMC Acadia AT4U. So you wanted pre-owned cars? We've got the largest selection of pre-owned inventory in the area. Whether you guys are looking for a Buick Envision or the smaller Encore GX, this ain't your father's Buick anymore. You want a great deal on a Buick? Come to Blaze Alexander Greater Hazleton and see why we take the deals the other guys won't.
Get the care you need at the all-new ER at Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton. Now twice the size, with a quick assessment process, advanced technology, and private treatment rooms. When it matters most, trust your partner in emergency care.
Membership opportunities are now available at the Valley Country Club, 79 Country Club Lane in Sugarloaf. Clubhouse upgrades are in progress and will be ready for the spring. Call Frank Radis for details at 570-233-5328.
There's no better place to shoot than Whitetail Preserve. Their skeet trap and sporting clay fields are professionally designed and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-455-4251 extension 1378 for more information.
If you are a CDL driver and you've had a bad experience, you waited too long or the doctor had a bad attitude, give us a chance. The law allows chiropractors now to do CDL exams. We will do the best job we can for you, so give us a call.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Sports here on WYLN. I'm your host, Marty Burns. We go national once again, and joining us from WYLN Sports is Joe Flanagan. And Joe, first of all, thanks for joining us this week.
Great to be here, Marty. Beautiful, some beautiful baseball weather and ready to go.
And you lead right into it. Major League Baseball has reached their halfway point right around the All-Star break, but teams generally play over half of their games by the time the break hits. And when we air this, there's going to be some games that have already been played since the break. But before we get to that, we joked during the Little League about the Adventures of Joe Flanagan, which we need to find a sponsor for. But the Adventures of Joe Flanagan recently took you all the way out to Seattle. And for the purpose of our discussion, you got to take in a game at Safeco Field, home of the Seattle Mariners.
Marty, it was really fun. To see a new ballpark that I've never seen before, and it's not. I guess it's T-Mobile Park now, not Safeco, but it's still Safeco to us guys, I guess. But it was really good to see. Good ball game, and it happened to be their reopening night, so there was fireworks, good atmosphere. Probably 35,000 people there, and it was just good to be among a crowd of people for a baseball game.
Well, that's good. That's good. And like I said, we'll have to get this copyrighted and sponsored, The Adventures of Joe Flanagan. But we'll get to that at some point.
The other 8 days, you're going to need a sponsor.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So let's hit on some of the topics in the first half that drew some interest to me. You can touch on them if you want, or you can totally avoid them and just leave me get in trouble for them. But June the 2nd, 10-game suspensions were let out to single-A baseball players, which included Hazleton area grad Sal Biazzi, for doctoring baseballs and getting caught with illegal substances, whether on their glove or on their hat and so on and so forth. You know Sal and his family much better than I do, but to me, Sal and this group were scapegoats because, and I don't want to take anything, I'm not saying that Sal is dumb or anything, but I can't imagine that a roving instructor, somebody that came down, might have said to these pitchers, hey, if you try this once in a while, or especially sunscreen, that I can't imagine Sal was experimenting in his hotel room after a game, seeing what he could do to help him with his pitches.
Right.
And a funny thing is, I saw Roger Clemens recently came out and said, if you don't let the pitchers come out and use sunscreen, they'll get cancer and they'll be suing all of Major League Baseball. But honestly, to me, I think that group of A players were scapegoats for Major League Baseball to try to corral this.
I think you're exactly right, Marty. I think it was one of them things, hey, we're going to show everybody we mean business. And, was it just happenstance that night they, he had a pitch? And, especially a kid like Sal, I've seen him work out in the gym. I've seen the hard work he does. That he's not a cut corner guy. So, yeah, they were just scapegoats of a bigger problem in Major League Baseball. But, I heard a couple pitchers talking about, okay, it's okay now. But once it gets colder, if you're not going to give us anything, you're going to get that 89-mile-an-hour fastball that they can't control, and it's going to go up underneath someone's chin.
And the other thing is they think that they've improved the offense, but you're in the summer now, and the ball tends to jump in the humidity. You get, once it gets colder, balls that were going out in July may not be going out in September and October. But the other thing that baseball did with all these checking of the hats and gloves is we're speeding up the game.
Right.
It's getting to a point when you watch a 1-0 game and it's over 3 hours long, and just wait until you get to the playoffs and World Series when the networks get more commercial time during the half innings. You could be talking about an extra 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
Oh, Marty, no doubt. That's the one thing I saw at Safeco. It was the first time since they but that clock is in Major League Baseball. There wasn't one in between inning that was shorter than 2 minutes. The in between pitches was way over 30 seconds, and that's just that kind of game. But you nailed it. I mean, to watch the pitchers come out and show them the glove, show them your hat. It's just ridiculous.
And the farce it became. I mean, you saw Sergio Romo the first time he went out. He looked like he was going to strip down to everything. Here, you want to check my belt, check my pants, check everything. So, and the other thing. Hazleton owned Joe Madden. I got to give him a bad grade. I thought the handling of Albert Pujols and his release from the Angels was handled very poorly, not only from Joe, but the higher-ups in the Angel front office. I understand why they kept Pujols, because they weren't sure if because Ohtani hadn't shown to this point that he could go through a whole season, whether it be pitching and or hitting. So I understand why they kept Pujols. Pujols was the insurance that if they don't have Ohtani. But when they got rid of him, and then they have the press conference, and they say to Joe, "Hey, have you had a chance to talk to?" No, I didn't seek him out. And for what Pujols has meant to Major League Baseball, and especially to that Angel organization, you say that there's not different rules for different guys, but there is different rules for different guys, and they should have treated Pujols with a little bit more class.
One of the hardest things I think, Marty, is that aging veteran when you sign, and we talk about it all the time. That you sign that 10-year contract, those last 3 or 4 years of that contract are not usually going to be good. They're not, it's coming down. But you're right. For what Pujols meant to the Anaheim Angels and to baseball, he deserved almost like, hey, we're going to release you in a week. Here's your, go. We're going to give you a bat. You're going to play. And, he deserved better than that. And, interesting that the Dodgers picked him up. It'll be interesting to see what happens in playoffs. And I'm not sure if they play in interleague. I'm sure they do.
I think they still have one more series coming in at Dodger Stadium. I think they've already played in Anaheim, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens. And if the Dodgers have World Series hopes, that you think all of a sudden you've got yourself a DH.
You got yourself a DH, and just a guy that is going to give you a quality at bat against good pitching, and that's all you're going to see. Once you get into playoffs, you're going to see top A relievers, top A starters, so he's going to put quality at bats together.
So let's get to the 4 locals. We'll start with a team that doesn't have World Series aspirations, and that'll be the Pittsburgh Pirates. If anybody could tell me the plan that the Pirates are currently on, I'd love to hear it, because I can't figure it out. They waylaid their whole starting pitching staff in trades in the offseason. Right. It sounds like their closer is going to be gone. I hear Toronto a lot looking after him. And you would think you've got Frazier and Reynolds, 2 All-Stars, and then Charlie Hayes and Cabrine. You've got 3 pieces that you can build off of. But Adam Frazier apparently is on the trading block. He's arbitration eligible in 2022. So to me, that smells like he's probably due a raise, which they don't want to pay. they're claiming they're a small market team. For the longest time, Pittsburgh was known as the City of Champions. It's tough to see how the Pirates are going to unload this young kid.
I always kid the Pirate fans. I know that it's time. Who are you going to give the Yankees in the trade bait decision? And it's a joke, but there was a while there, Yankees and the Pirates made a trade every year around the trade deadline. But no, hopefully their executives have a plan with that. You have a good base of talent, and that's what you hate to see. Like, remember the old Marlin way? They won that series but the Pirates never really got over that hump. But now it just seems they're just in total rebuild every year. So it'll be interesting to see if they do have a plan.
Now, the one trade that did happen in the offseason, Tyone went from the Pirates to the Yankees. We moved to the New York Yankees. Are the Yankees going to buy? Are they going to sell? There seems to be some indecision there. But if they buy, is it time to, start giving up a lot of your prospects you have coming up? The only thing that I think you should probably try to trade, I think the experiment with Clint Frazier's up.
Well, and I think he's hurt again. And, he's a right-handed bat that I think the Yankees, if they have one thing, is a lot of right-handed bats. So he's sort of out, and he's not a great defensive outfielder. He's gotten better, but it'll be interesting to see Frazier. And the guy, and it's Yankee fans may yell at me for this one if he gets traded, Gio Urshela has some value. If you're going to trade, there's a guy you could get something back for.
And the other thing, they got to fix that pitching staff. I think they depended too much on guys with hope and a prayer. Tyone coming off injury, Kluber who ended up getting hurt, and even Severino. They're going to try to bring him back, but can you truly count on these guys coming back from injury?
I think yesterday, and we talked a little bit on the way over here, Marty, was a classic what the Yankees are. You see the power, you see the good pitching that they could have, and then you just see bad defense, bad base running, and a home run out of a bullpen guy. So you're seeing, I think that's sort of where the Yankees are now. They're sort of that, they look like a lumbering team that is going to stay 4 to 6 games over 500.
And I know Aaron Boone's into the analytics, but being a third-generation ball player and now manager, it's disappointing to see sometimes, as you mentioned, the lack of fundamentals with the Yankees.
I think the first time all year I saw them this year, 2-out single, Gleyber Torres stole the base, and then the other way base hit to score a run. I was like, wow, that would have been the first time. But in the inning before that, runner on third, nobody out, they don't score him.
Right.
So unfortunately, there's more teams in baseball doing that kind of stuff. And, usually good Yankee teams usually were more fundamental than others.
Well, fans, especially Mets and Phillies fans, we're going to talk about those two teams coming up next here on Let's Talk Sports.
Physical Therapy and Balance Centers. It's spelled different because we are different. Physical is unlike any therapy center you've been to before. If you're tired of living in pain, if you want to move better, overcome an injury or balance disorder, or you just want to improve your strength and conditioning, our highly skilled team of medical experts will help you get back to living the life you enjoy. New mentality, new body, new life. Get physical.
Follow us on our weekly journeys through the backstories of those paving NEPA toward a better future.
Each night we'll dig a little deeper into the lives and goals of our local leaders. So stay tuned for the end of our news as we learn more of those leading the way.
Grease and grime build up in no time. Stop struggling and call the police. The Grease Police, the magic degreaser that cleans almost anything. Grease Police works on nearly all stubborn messes, even ones baked on for years. The secret's the super concentrated formula that emulsifies grease, dirt, and grime on contact. Even restaurant equipment is no match for the power of Grease Police. And it's biodegradable, so you can clean your barbecue grill inside and out. But Grease Police cleans so much more. Everything from scummy tile and grout to brake dust on rims. Even dried-on spray paint comes right off. Call or click now to get a large bottle of concentrated Grease Police with money-back guarantee for just $14.99. Order now and you can double it and get a second bottle. Just pay a separate fee. That's 2 large bottles of concentrated Grease Police with guarantee. Ordered now.
Call 1-800-643-6167 or visit getgreasepolice.com. So call 1-800-643-6167 now.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. You can also head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online.
Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the midday WYLN News update, posted between noon and 2 p.m. Powered by Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, the all-new emergency room at Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton is nearly double the size. Our updated facility features all private rooms, the latest technology, and a quicker, easier check-in process. Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, your partner in ER care.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Sports here on WYLN. I'm your host, Marty Burns, joined by Joe Flanagan of WYLN Sports. And for you metropolitan New York fans, and that's you, Jim Burns, we didn't forget about the Mets. Joe, when we look at the Mets, came to the All-Star break in first place. But when I look at the Mets, they got guys all over the place out of position. To me, I think the Mets anticipated Major League Baseball doing what they did last year.
Right.
DH all over. I think they built an American League team, but now they're playing under National League rules.
Right.
I think ultimately they want Alonso to be the DH,
Right.
Smith to come in and play first. They'll figure out left field, whether it be Pilar or whoever. McNeil reminds me a lot of Daniel Murphy, can hit, but can't find a place to put him defensively.
Right.
He seems to be okay at second. We mentioned last segment Adam Frazier. He's been associated with the Mets. But if you do that, where are you putting these guys?
Yeah, and one of the hardest things when you have a team like that is getting people enough at bats.
Right.
You know, and keeping them fresh. So, you know, when you talk about that, I think the Mets, pitching.
Right.
And that's why they are there. Their pitchers are good. And getting some timely hitting. And some of the division, we'll talk about the Phillies next, really didn't play great in June. Mm-hmm. And they played good, so they pulled ahead. I don't think they're that much better in the division, but they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs just if they could line up their pitching.
But I have two question marks on the pitching staff. Edwin Diaz, who recently, right before the All-Star break, blew a lead against Pittsburgh in New York. He's a question mark, and I think he will be until the Mets make the postseason. Right. And this may sound like the craziest thing I've ever said, and you know I've said some crazy things. Can you count on Jacob deGrom? And what I mean by that is when you get to money time in October, can you count on deGrom being there in a Game 7 when you need him to take the ball? Because there's been times this year where he's saying different parts of his arm hurt. I need to skip a start because I need rest. Can you count on deGrom come October, Game 7 of a playoff series?
Well, you better be. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
If the Mets have plans of being a World Series contender and going against the Dodgers and those teams, deGrom's your guy that's going to need to pitch 1-4-7 in those series. So, and I think it might be a little preservation of himself right now because he was just one of those inning chompers early on, and I think maybe somebody got to him and said, hey, listen, it's okay to skip a start. You're not feeling right. But his stuff is electric, and he's one of those guys, like you said, could he? Don't know. Does he have the potential? Absolutely. I wouldn't want to face him 3 times in a series.
We moved to Pennsylvania and South Philadelphia, and those fighting Phillies of Philadelphia. I know somebody in Freeland wants to know what Mr. E thinks of the Phillies, but one of the first things, and you've seen it with Joe Girardi and the Yankees, one of the concerns I have as a Philly fan, Spencer Howard, their number one prospect, their number one pitching prospect in the organization, has been up. They take him out after 2 innings, 3 innings. They want to watch his pitch count. They're worried about this and about that. And eerily, I fall back to Jabba Chamberlain.
The Jabba rules. It's tough. It is such, pitching is such a commodity that, and each team sort of has a different feel for what they do. And, it's just, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer. And I think each person is different, and that's how you have to do it. That's just my opinion. But you're right, that's a tough thing. Throw 2 innings, and then, they send him down a little bit, and, it's tough.
I'll give Girardi credit. He said, we got to get this group healthy, and they'll come around. Late in that first half, they got everybody back together healthy. Didi, Harper, Realmuto, and they all came back, and they started to hit. They started to play well. I think the NL East is going to be those 4 teams, the Mets, the Phillies, Braves, and Nationals. Braves have a big concern now with Acuna out for the year. Washington, I'm not sure about their pitching, and are they going to want to unload some of these guys that are going to be coming up due free agency? But I can see those 4 possibly being grouped together, and maybe one of those teams making a run in August, and that'll be the run that'll get them in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I think you're exactly right. And all those teams you mentioned have a number 1 starter in Scherzer, Nola, all those guys. If that starter stays healthy and gets hot, goes on a 5-game winning streak, you don't know who that's going to be, but I think you're exactly right. My wild card, and I've loved him since the Cubs, is Kyle Schwarber. I think he's just that classic left-handed hitter. I think the team I wouldn't want to play is the Nationals with Scherzer and Scherber.
But the thing with Schwarber, we don't know when he'll be back.
Right.
In the Central, I think Milwaukee looks like they're ready to make a run and take over that division. Everybody seems to think the 3 teams out of the West, one will be the division winner, the other 2 will be the wild cards. Don't be so sure, my friend. I've seen 2 years of collapses in September of Gabe Kapler. I think you could see a third with San Francisco, but don't. You're probably going to see the Dodgers and Padres and then another team. Right. American League East. Boston is the surprise. Tampa Bay just always keeps hanging around. The one that worries me is Toronto with all that youth, and they almost look like they're not smart enough to know what they're getting themselves into. Can the Yankees overcome those obstacles?
Do you know what's going to be crazy? And they're still not back in Toronto, correct?
No, they've been playing in Buffalo.
So they're still in Buffalo. I don't know if there's plans of moving them back this year or not. But no, that park is a great equalizer. Now you're going to come late August, early September in Buffalo. There's going to be snowflakes flying up there. Yeah. And it could be some crazy series up there. I agree with you. I think Toronto, those young kids, I don't know if they have enough pitching, but, we'll see if they go after any pitching.
They've been subtly sliding in these little middle relievers, and like I said, you keep seeing their name for the closer, Rodriguez from Pittsburgh, wanting to bring him in. Can anybody challenge the White Sox in the Central? I don't think so. Does Oakland have enough to catch Houston?
Oakland's another one of those teams. No, they don't. You don't think they do, but they always find a way. Houston is very interesting to me because, they lost a little depth, but they seem to always get that guy to come in, that pitcher or that hitter, and we'll see what happens. That series against the Yankees this weekend, they didn't hit the ball at all till the 9th inning of that game, and that's just a big win for them and a really bad loss for the Yankees.
And then the other thing is the unknown that we don't know at this point. Maybe some deals will be made once we hit the air. What are teams going to do as we approach the trade deadline? You got to figure Atlanta's going to be a big player now with Acuna Jr. out.
Yeah.
And I still think one of the teams that's going to be the big mystery is your Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Buy, sell. At one point, do you decide that? And to me, I always worry, all those years George said, just empty the minor league system if you have to. Is their minor league system capable to buy now but still have a good system?
Probably not at this point, you know what I mean? Because they don't have the bats in their high A. They have some young bats, some A, double A, but the triple A if you look at their roster, AAA, it's 26, 27-year-old, which are great to come up and fill in, but they're not long-haul guys. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't have an answer for that. I think the Yankees are going to do a hybrid of both, try to stay in it and make some wise deals. I don't think they have enough, but if you get Cole going like he has been, Taillon's pitching well, and like you said, Severino, Kluber, even Domingo Herman. If those guys can come in and pitch well, we'll see what happens.
Got about 30 seconds in this segment. Are the Cubs going to be the team that decides who makes the World Series simply because of they're just going to unload? Who's going to pick up those pieces of Bryant, Baez, Contreras, Rizzo, Kimbrel?
Talking to the Cubs fan we know. He just told us, he told me today, he said, I want them to get rid of anybody. They can get anything, let's get rid of them. So Cub fans are happy with that one World Series in this run, and they're ready to reload, I think.
Okay, we'll be back to wrap up Let's Talk Sports right after this.
Hey guys, this is Ray Merrill from Blaze Alexander, Greater Hazleton, Buick GMC on Route 93.
Hey, don't forget we got a quarter-mile used cars.
Oh, we do. We have over 2,000 pre-owned vehicles in stock on blazealexander.com. We have a quarter mile here on Route 93, all the way down there. Come by, check them out. Yep, quarter mile used cars. So if you're looking for a great pre-owned car, come to Blaze Alexander, Greater Hazleton. Come check us out on Route 93 and see why we take the deals the other guys won't.
Try brushing your pet's teeth. They don't like it. It's a pain. Introducing Chew Brush, the world's first self-brushing toothbrush for dogs with a toothbrush on the inside. Watch as they chew, they brush their own teeth. The Chew Brush cleans their teeth and gums in 3 ways. The nubs on the outside massage the gums. The tooth-shaped openings safely scrape away plaque and tartar, and the hidden bristles brush your pet's teeth clean while they play. The more they chew, the cleaner their teeth get. Look at this before and after. In just 5 days. Wow, what a difference. No more pain, bad breath, or expensive life-threatening treatments. Order Chew Brush today for only $14.99. We guarantee your pet will have whiter, brighter, healthier teeth and gums or your money back. Order now and you can double it. Just pay a separate fee. That's 2 Chew Brushes. Order now.
Call 1-800-851-6503. That's 1-800-851-6503 or visit getchewbrush.com. So call 1-800-851-6503 now.
Did you know that WYLN News provides news updates every weekday afternoon
At 1, 3, and 5 here on TV and on social media?
Did you also know you can watch WYLN News on the go by visiting our website or YouTube page?
Now more than ever,
WYLN is your local news leader.
As we close out Let's Talk Sports, got about a minute and a half left, and I don't want this to go by. After September 11th, 2001, I believe it was the Friday after, a week and a Friday after, first game in New York was the Braves and the Mets at Shea, ironically, where the Mets had a staging area for different families and that. And I remember Piazza hitting that home run in the 8th inning, and you still get chills thinking about it. Major League Baseball, we were critical of them. Might have gotten it right. Saturday night, September 11th, 2021, the 20th anniversary. It's going to be the Yanks at Citi Field playing the Mets. National game on Fox, and I think Major League Baseball got it right.
Yeah, no, that and you know that should almost be part of the Yankees Mets season. They should rotate where that's played, and commemorate that as a good American holiday in remembrance of 9/11.
Well, Joe, time flies by. I've enjoyed it. But you're going to come back next week. Why is Joe coming back next week? You'll have to tune in next week to find out. So for Joe Flanagan, I'm Marty Burns saying so long. We'll see you next week for another edition of Let's Talk Sports.
You're watching WYLN TV 35,